the best tasting radio show in all of South Louisiana. It's the Lafayette Food Junkies Show on News Talk 96.5 KPEL.
Welcome back to the Lafayette Food Junkies Show on News Talk 96.5 KPEL. I'm your host, Tiffany Deku. Here we talk about all the food happenings around Acadiana. If you like food, tune in. You might learn something new. It rained for like 5 seconds on my way to the station, and I don't think I've ever wanted rain so bad. It's very hot outside, and heat indexes are supposed to be on the rise. But it is the 4th of July. They keep calling it a holiday weekend, and I'm very confused by that, being that the 4th of July is on a Wednesday this year. So are we just taking like a 5-day 4th of July holiday vacation? Is that how it works? I don't know. Zach, are you taking a 5-day holiday weekend for the 4th of July?
Never.
Yeah, I was off this weekend. I went to North Louisiana, or as some of you listening like to consider it, Southern Arkansas, to visit my grandmother this weekend. And then I worked the next 2 days, and I'm off for the 4th. Are you guys doing anything for the 4th?
Well, the 3rd, we were going to the Jam in the Park, right?
There's so many events that I love that is happening. So y'all aren't doing anything 4th of July related. Y'all don't know.
No. We pretty much work every day. In fact, that's actually,
I know. I feel
it's actually
your pain.
a Wednesday.
Yeah.
And we would normally have our market on that
that's
day.
true. Are y'all doing?
We're not going to be doing it.
Yeah.
We're actually going to take that day off.
Are y'all going to do it on the Thursday instead, or?
No. Because that would be inconsistent.
Okay.
And we had to be consistent.
Just taking the week off.
As much as we can.
Yeah.
Everybody's taking at least that day off. I'm working today, obviously.
So I finally, we're going to barbecue, but we're just going to do like hot dogs, and it's not anything super fancy. But I always do a cocktail for the 4th.
Okay.
And I'm going to do fresh cantaloupe juice. I'm going to juice a cantaloupe with mint simple syrup.
Nice. And
going to add water to it because I'm putting it in like a big jug. It's almost going to be like a agua fresca.
Okay.
And then adding Brazilian rum that I just got from Caneland Distillery in Baton Rouge.
Nice.
So yeah, that's going to be our 4th of July cocktail, and we're just going to hang out by the pool. Nothing too spectacular. I do like to grill for the 4th though.
Yeah.
Not sometimes into fireworks, sometimes not. I guess it's like so hot. Well, I guess you're technically not supposed to have fireworks in the city limits. And I know at my grandmother's house, she's surrounded by woods and it's so dry. So there's no fireworks happening there. But yeah, so that's kind of cool.
Best practice.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so on my way to Minden, I passed 2 farmers markets, and I didn't stop, but I was like super excited because it's farmers market season, it seems like. And it's also
for local food.
Right. It's peach season. Mm-hmm. And being that my grandmother lives 30 miles from Ruston, I had the idea that, like, let's go to Ruston and get peaches since it's so close. And I in my head, I was thinking, you know, because in Lafayette, you'll see the trucks in the parking lot selling Ruston peaches.
Yeah, you see them everywhere.
Yeah, and then they come to the farmer's market during peach season as well. And
always sell out.
Yeah, and so I was like, surely we'll see people on the side of the road selling peaches. So we decided...
Right, in Ruston, yeah, they must be everywhere.
They must be everywhere, yeah. Everyone must have a peach tree in their backyard. Mm-hmm. So... we went actually, so to get there, you would take I-20. We decided to take the leisurely route and went Highway 80, which, by the way, if you go through all those small towns, every single small town there has a Bonnie and Clyde museum because they were shot down in Arcadia. And so you have to pass through Arcadia to get to Ruston. But like every single town, like small town, they have a Bonnie and Clyde museum. Just FYI, if you're into that, head up north. Yeah. So, didn't see not a one truck selling peaches.
Selling peaches. Okay.
Right. Got into Ruston, which Ruston is really bizarre to me because it's a very tiny town, but it's also a college town.
Right.
So they have really restaurants that you wouldn't normally see in that size of a town. Were there Jimmy John's and Duke's for one thing.
Crowd. Yeah.
Also, they had this Latin restaurant that had a buffet that I was really interested in. Taco restaurants everywhere. Like very much taco. They have this really cool food truck that's there too that's doing like global fusion kind of food. So they have, I mean, it's bizarre because North Louisiana, small town, but it's a college town, so you're pulling different things in.
From all over the country that are in there, and it becomes a more metropolitan place.
Get into Ruston. Ruston downtown does not have peach trees, FYI.
No? There's not like a peach tree lane or anything?
No peach tree lane.
Like statue of a peach, like James Corona?
None. So I finally Googled, I was like, where is the farmer's market? So Googled, they have a farmer's market. They actually have a really cool farmer's market. Okay. It's in a warehouse. It is shaded at least, and they do have fans going in there. So, the sweltering heat, right? They have it. It's very small. I think they only had 10, maybe 15 vendors, but they had kids activities. They were doing
was
this
there produce
drumming thing. There was.
Okay.
There was a lot of, well, I say a lot, but majority of the vendors were produce vendors.
Interesting.
But they had tamales. Like we said, every farmer's market has to have a tamale vendor. The meat vendors were in the back, and I think it's because they had refrigerate. They had to have refrigeration, right?
Like that, yeah.
One peach vendor.
Only one peach vendor.
Only one peach vendor. Yeah. She had sold out.
Of course.
I just want to say that our farmers market, if you go to them and you are looking for something and they're out of it, they will at least tell you where to go to get
to supplement.
Right.
Like, hey, I'm sorry I didn't have it, but here's where you can go to get some.
Yeah, she did not.
She did not want to plug anybody else.
She directed us to Calhoun, which I have no idea where that was at.
Okay.
On 167. She said that they had a truck on the side of the road there selling her produce. So
selling her stuff.
Yeah. So we were like, let's just go. We're going to get on I-20 and go home. Posted on Facebook, went to Ruston for peaches. Found no peaches.
Right.
One of my friends who happens to was a vendor at the farmer's market here was like, you didn't find any peaches at Mitcham Orchard?
Right.
And I was like, no, I went to the farmer's market. So I was like, let me just Google this real quick. Right. And it was 11 minutes away. So I was like, let's go. And it was the land of peaches. They had rows and rows and rows of orchards. It was just insane of how huge it was. And you pull up and it's again, it's has covering and shelter, if it rains, and they have lines, it's don't get behind this line, and then
people fight over peaches.
Right. You don't even touch the peaches. You're not allowed to touch the peaches. You tell the lady what you want. And then she will grab it for you, and then you give her cash. Now, what was really cool about this place too that I liked was that they had a little, I want to say it was a farmhouse, a gift shop kind of thing. And it was also, again, land of peaches. You walk in, smells like peaches. They have peach
everything.
syrup. I got peach syrup, peach salsa, peach ice cream, peach lemonade, which was delicious. They were also selling fudge, and then they had other things like jams and jellies and very farmers market stuff, peach Bellini mix. And then also peach Bellini glasses with the logo of the farm on it as well. So it was very well marketed.
Yeah.
And
is extremely important.
And loved it. Apparently they're big because some other Facebook friends had mentioned them as well, and they apparently do you can order gift boxes of peaches from them, and
a Harry and David kind of thing.
Yes, and so apparently they do that. But these are the best peaches that I've ever had. They were so delicious, juicy, and sweet. And I'm going to take some tonight and grill them, because this is the whole reason why I was going on the peach hunt. I want to grill them, goat cheese, drizzle with honey, and pumpkin seeds.
So, oh man, there's a new goat cheese place, that opened up. Do you remember what that's called?
No.
I'm going to find out. I'll have it in the next segment.
Zach has his mind goes 80 places with farms.
There's a goat cheese place that just opened up. They do goats. They do cheese. They do
It's
caramels.
not Wanda.
No, it's not Wanda.
Okay, because Westmore was. I was actually talking about this
after the flood. I believe.
Yeah, and actually, and they did caramels, because I had gotten some. I think last time I did figs. I got the.
Yeah.
I did.
It is fig season right now.
Yes.
And if you need figs, we got.
Y'all got it. Okay, but you had a theory of why I was not able to find peaches in Ruston.
So these communities that grow food like this, they tend to go to other places to sell, obviously, for other markets. But what it means is that you don't have that product really there and as accessible as you might think it would be. They often will sell things everywhere else, and there won't be a whole lot left for the actual communities there that need the food. So even those places that are growing the food don't have the same food access. Sometimes those are the poorest and most rural places that do need that, and instead their food, the crop that they would otherwise be eating, they're having to bring to places that we highly appreciate, obviously, in Lafayette having access to.
Right, because they come to the Lafayette market. I know if I would have went to Shreveport instead, like Shreveport has a huge farmers market, they would have been there.
Don't. Yeah. I'm just saying that it's important that we make sure we keep food in those communities so that when people are there, they don't run out of peaches at the farmers market.
Exactly. Right? All right, we're going to take our first break, and when we come back, we have more with Zack McMath. So come back to us. It is the Lafayette Food Junkie Show on News Talk 96.5 KPEL.
From Boudin to the best burgers Acadiana has to offer, it's the Lafayette Food Junkie Show on News Talk 96.5 KPEL.
Welcome back to the Lafayette Food Junkie Show on News Talk 96.5 KPEL. I'm your host, Tiffany Deku, and joining tonight as guest co-host is Zack McMath with McMath Food Group. One day I'll be able to say everything seamlessly.
I can't ever remember.
Acadiana Food Hub, Incubator and Commissary Kitchen.
Right.
The whole kit and caboodle.
All kinds of stuff.
Yep. Okay, so there were 3 announcements of closings this past week. No Good Sons Barbecue and Grill. Rodney has been on the show before. They unfortunately announced that they're going to be closing. I hope that he goes back to doing it out of his house.
Well, I wonder if he wants to come do a commissary. Like a virtual commissary and have people like order a brisket.
Maybe he could do a food truck even on a smaller basis. Like since Blanchard's has a brick and mortar now, to have like a mobile barbecue.
There's nothing wrong with kind of just taking that step back and reevaluating this scale in which you approach any of these things.
Right, exactly. So hopefully he'll do something because they had food. Such good brisket.
Right. Yeah. His
the brisket.
Was incredible.
That's what I was talking about when Blanchard's, did their brick and mortar, and I said I like that we're finally getting barbecue places in town, and I like each one of them for different reasons.
Yeah,
and I really liked his brisket. Like his brisket was so good. So they announced that they're closing. Hot Dog Stop also announced that they're going to be closing, and then the biggest one, and the one that I think is going to has an impact on you, is Gotreaux Family Farms announced that they're going to be closing. Part of the reason why they announced that they were closing is that the kids are getting older. And they kind of sat down and had a talk with them. And the kids kind of said if they're going to work that hard, they want to make money doing it. And so they didn't want to continue with the farming. So they made the decision to close the farm, which is a trend. I mean, this is a trend across the country
Prudhome's closed, not for the same reasons,
right, but
than last year. We're losing farms, right? We're losing the ability to grow food, locally and have that transparency. It's a trend in a couple different ways. You're seeing trends of people getting into farming in different ways. Brian and them were doing an incredible job out there, but somebody's got to want to do it. It's got to be somebody's passion, and it's tough. It's very tough. I'm in a third generation family business. It's very tough to give things the next generation and have them maintain it the same way and do the same thing and have the same values and the same work ethic that you would have with your own baby, right? Your own company, and so it's extremely difficult to do, and you do need a next generation to pick that up, especially with farmers. And so generational farmers are less, absolutely. Meaning, getting it from your fathers or something like that. But you are having people getting back into farming that were never farming before. These
right.
Small, 1-2 acre farms and artisan farmers and flower farmers. And
what about people just farming for themselves? Like I know I this year tried to grow squash and tomatoes, on my apartment patio. Do you think there's this trend like of people just trying to do their own garden for themselves and for their family and their friends?
I think there's a trend of just knowledge and people being more educated and understanding, number one, how to grow, why they should consume those things. And in some cases, they find that they can't afford to eat healthy, and so they grow their own food. That's oftentimes when we see most of our societies grow food is when they want to be able to afford to eat healthy and change their and affect their lifestyles, and not overly eating healthy, but just having access to fresh food. I don't mean you can't have red beans and rice and gravy, but I want it to be fresh and I want that to be nutritious, right?
What I'm just now processing as we're talking about on the air is that if we're having this trend of the younger generation not wanting to get into farming, it leads to where are we going to be getting our produce from? And if most of our produce is coming from other countries, and the United States is typically not having a good relationship with some of the countries that we're getting that food from. What's gonna happen?
Or trade wars can affect the cost of lettuce coming from Mexico.
Right.
The average age of farmers in the United States is 59 years old, and 3% of our population knows how to grow food. Even the ag programs that we're teaching now are welding, right? They're not really focused on growing food, and that's apparent in the lack of farmers we have at a farmer's market, the fact that you can't get peaches there, but also in the cost of local food. I find it tough, and I get a lot of arguments from people that they don't buy food from a farmer's market because it's more expensive. And me coming from a sourcing background and food distribution background, I'm going, why is it more expensive? It's just right there. And there's obvious cost in being a small farmer, and those costs are heavier on small farmers than they are on big farmers. And it's mostly the small farmers that are actually growing our food. The big farmers are doing the sugar canes and the rice and things like that. And they're okay, depending on the commodity price. But these people that are growing the lettuce for us and the tomatoes, they're not getting commodity pricing on this. And they don't have scale big enough to do that. And they don't have a constant market. So it's tough. And it's definitely something that has to be maintained by a group of people. Brian had that group of people that will eventually, they go on with their lives, right? And as people do. And so it does take a group, and that's a lot of why the Food Hub was here, is to help be a group for that and be a network for and a sustaining support system for farmers like that. In the case that they can or do or want to be in that. But the fact is, we won't have any more food transparency, and we won't have any more access to fresh food, and we won't be able to decrease that price really if we don't grow more locally, and we don't really support systems that are more equitable and it can really lead to a more a system that I guess is a little more carbon neutral to some degree.
Mm-hmm.
That we're not trucking food halfway across the country and refrigerating it and things like that, and having just deplorable nutritional rates.
See,
anyway.
Speaking of transportation, that was part of the whole reason why I was in North Louisiana. I wanted to go to Ruston because even the peaches that we get here at the market, they're still good, but they've still transportation wise, it's like 4.5 hours. It's hot, and it's like
in most cases, those farmers are bringing them in refrigerated trucks if they're really following it, and those things are expensive. And if you want that quality there, then you're going to pay a little bit more for those,
right?
If you didn't just pick it off the orchard. There's cost to all those things. That's why it can be significantly less expensive to go and just pick your own. Yeah.
Exactly. It's
a shame to see Gotreaux close. They were one of the biggest and organic producers in the state, and we're doing an incredible job. And their tilapia is out there and needs to go somewhere. And
they're looking for homes for what is it, like 3,000 pounds?
That's what I understand.
3,000 pounds of tilapia.
We'd like to find a nonprofit to be able to process it and freeze it. I think St. Joe's should take it and fillet it. And have fish fry. I don't know.
Fish fry.
But it seems like that should go somewhere. Food waste is probably my biggest concern with anything ever. Right? We could drop the price of food if we had less food waste, because then we'd be selling more of it. That's my theory. But so getting that food out there is really important. But for Brian and them to close is really just sad for everybody's food access. There's a lot of people that were getting CSA boxes and things like that that are really going to struggle to find where they're going to get food. And
I know as much as there's loyal people that go to the farmer's market
absolutely.
So I'm wondering if that
people depend on that,
because he had his own, he had the Hub City farmer's market. So I'm wondering if that market is still going to continue, or if they're going to kind of get absorbed into the one at Munkus Park.
I don't know. Good question.
Yeah, because
I have no idea.
I was interested in seeing that.
I know he was a big anchor for that.
Right. That was his market. I remember
he started that before the horse farm.
Yeah. Well, I remember when they started a farmer's market at River Ranch, years ago, and it was them, and I think they were the only ones there. And this was years ago, and that was the first little whisperings of the farmer's market. And then he started the Hub City one, and then the one at the horse farm started.
Right.
But he was the biggest producer.
Absolutely. At that
one.
You could see, a pillar of locally grown food and organic practices and things like that. It's really sad thing.
Yeah.
And kind of a scary thing if this continues.
All right, we are going to take another break, and when we come back, we have more with Zack. So come back to us. It is the Lafayette Food Junkie Show on News Talk 96.5 KPEL.
She puts the wow, yum into words. It's the Lafayette Food Junkie herself on News Talk 96.5 KPEL.
Welcome back to the Lafayette Food Junkie Show on News Talk 96.5 KPEL. I'm your host, Tiffany Deku, and we are talking with Zack McMath of McMath Food Group. We're going to test your mic really quickly to make sure that's working because it was kind of low.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me out there?
Okay. Yes, that's working perfectly. Okay. Yeah, there we go. People can hear you now. Okay.
I mumble sometimes.
So every time you come on, you guys always have a bunch of stuff new and upcoming. So what's new and upcoming with the food group?
Let's see. We have a CSA program that will be unleashing kind of in August. That will allow people to buy in for a weekly subscription.
Okay, cool.
It'll run 52 days a week, 52 weeks a year. Yeah. And actually, if you're out of town, you can actually donate it to St. Joe's, which would be a neat little feature.
Oh, okay, that's cool.
So there we can avoid some food waste. But it basically be $25 a week for a box. So that'll be we'll be sending out some info and like questionnaires and seeing how people want to access it and where. But this is ideally going to be across Acadiana. So even as we do have something that comes in from Abbeville or Ruston, it can also go back out to those places and be distributed into those places. So all of those communities can have access. There's that. And then probably the other biggest thing for us right now, especially in this month, is we have our yearly fundraising dinner. Good Eats for Good Cause is hosting the Acadiana Food Hub this month for their July 26th dinner at Tops Appliances. And dinner, I think it's $35 a meal.
Okay.
It's 2 or 3 courses, some pass-arounds. It's delicious. Kara and I went to one a couple months ago for the refinery mission. They raised like maybe $5,000 or so for the refinery.
Wow.
Food was delicious. They had a silent auction and live auction and had all kinds of great stuff. We got a dinner from the unconventional dietitian, which is what we're doing on the 3rd for our holiday dinner.
And she's going to be on the show in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, she's fantastic. We're doing a cooking class for our whole family. So there's like 13 of us.
Nice.
And so that's actually for Kara's birthday. We're doing a conventional dietitian. Her
Are y'all going to get super competitive since it's Kara's like shaking her head. Yes. Yeah, it's going to be super competitive of who makes the best dish. Yes. Yeah, I wish I could see that. That's so funny.
So that's a big fundraiser for us. I mean, we're a nonprofit. So in order to stay sustainable, especially as we, all of our programs kind of hit their stride, we're only a year old. Right, so all this is happening.
I feel like I've been around for 8 years now. There's been so much.
We worked on it for about a year, right? We broke ground, 6 months into that, and then a year ago we cut a ribbon. Maybe like a year ago, a week or two ago, we cut the ribbon. So we've only been open for about a year. We've had I think 25 different tenants incubating.
Wing Fingers was one of the big finger.
Graduated out. We had them. We had them at Eat Lafayette. They were awesome. But yeah, they've grown into their own store now. That's the point, is they just needed a place to grow, and we've been able to help a whole lot of companies do that. Basin Blend just graduated out.
Acadiana Slice is there.
Slice is moving in.
Yeah.
So we actually awarded $40,000 through a LEDA grant program called Food Spark. And Corey Champagne with Acadiana Slice won one of those. But we basically awarded 8 $5,000 culinary stipend programs, similar to the Art Spark program. That was awarded to culinary artists, and it allowed them to get over those initial hurdles to start their companies. And so that we incubated 8 there, just through that one program with LEDA. So I mean, it's really about people kind of just using the space and gaining the knowledge and understanding that and growing their companies or shrinking their companies in some cases, right? But yeah, we've been working on this obviously for a year or so. And as people have kind of learned how to use it, we've had different concepts come through and operate and grow. And some people, it doesn't work, right? I mean, that's part of that process. I mean, the best thing to do is to fail small.
Right.
So it's been interesting. We've worked with 120 companies in the last year and a half.
What are some of the new ones that you have in that we may not have heard of?
So we just put on Daily Decadence.
Okay, and I've been seeing them on
they do
on
cheesecakes.
Facebook. Okay, that's yeah.
They're delicious actually. They do actually cheesecake parties. They'll come and do like live events.
Nice.
But they do like little personal cheesecakes, and they're just decadent, really. They're in there. Acadiana Slice is coming in. We just had TNS is a food truck that does crawfish and barbecue.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they have this huge, beautiful barbecue rig.
Nice.
That also does crawfish. They're in there, and then we have all the Food Spark people. There's John Panero with Sweet Smart, which is a new sweetener. Purely Cajun, Buki Bakers. These are all Food Spark winners. I'm probably thinking forgetting a few.
I'm thinking
Evans Honeys.
There's something I don't know what the name of it is, but I've been seeing it. I don't know if you're associated with them or not. It may be that they're at the farmers market, but it's like peanut butter power bar kind of thing.
Oh, Charlie's peanut butter power. Yeah. So he just graduated.
Okay.
Right? So he's been there for almost a year. He went to work with I think the guys from Good Eats Kitchen.
Okay.
Right? And so he's using their kitchens more full time, but it was simply a scalable thing. He just needed some kitchen space to get out his market and to be able to put his product in the stores and then grow out. Charlie. Charlie was graduated from UL, and this was his project coming out of UL, and he's been very successful at it. But yeah, there's a farmer's market, and he's in a few retail spots too.
There's another one, and they're not associated with y'all, but they're at the farmer's market that was also a UL project, Good Waffle.
Oh yeah,
company.
Good Waffle.
Yeah. I'm actually, so next week's show is going to be it's going to have some new recorded interviews and some old ones. And I'm going to replay his because we had interviewed him a while back, but then they had kind of took a hiatus, but now they're back at the market. But that's cool that UL is doing that as part of maybe that's something that you can, another idea for you. Right.
Yeah. Another thing for us to do.
Yeah.
No, we'd absolutely love to include the university in incubating, businesses and companies. And, this is, I think we've had 40 new, positions and jobs created
in
Lafayette's economy between all these businesses. I mean, look at Wing Fingers. That was two guys with a truck with no commissary.
And they
now they've got a half dozen employees.
Yeah.
He said they spent more in their first week in taxes than they did in the first month of them running the truck when they came into their new store. So just the economic impact is obvious. So it's been neat to watch. Now that we have a home for these type of businesses to be able to generate and create, and we have a home for these culinary businesses, they're doing exactly what we thought we did, and we're giving our artists a place to start.
So if somebody is interested in starting a food-related business and they kind of don't know where to start, do you guys have openings at the kitchen and the food incubator now?
Oh, yeah, there's still openings.
Yeah. So they would just contact you and set up a meeting?
We run 24/7. So you may not get the best shift, but there's shifts open. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
But yeah,
okay.
go to AcadianaFoodHub.com. There's a join us. You'll fill out some information that'll help us to kind of vet you, and we'll at least give you the information you need to get started. So you can work through your process and figure out whether there's something you want to do or not before you kind of jump in and go get loans for something where we don't really know what that process is yet. So let's evaluate that and help you grow into that at a strategic way. Or not. Yeah.
So one thing that I've been asking you every time you've come on the show is because y'all were partnered with Waiter and y'all were going to kind of do like a virtual grocery store kind of thing.
We're working on it.
It's happening.
It's happening.
It's up now.
Yep.
Y'all, so explain how it works.
So you can go on a Waiter, app on your phone. Actually,
on Wednesdays.
On every day of the week.
Okay.
Every day of the week, you can go onto Waiter.
Okay.
Right, and you can go onto their app, or you can go onto their desktop on your computer, and you can find Acadiana Food Hub. You can place an order for future delivery. That future delivery will be between 5 and 7 on Wednesday. That's when our volunteers have hours to stand in there and put out orders. Right. If I had more volunteers, we'd have more hours. So by all means, anybody that wants to volunteer to bring food to the community, they would love it. But yeah, for right now, it's just Wednesday from 5 to 7 as we kind of help people understand how to buy food from local farmers online. But Waiter does delivery. So Waiter will deliver your produce on your designated time. So you can, on Sunday, you can see the inventory of what's coming off the farms. You can place a future order. That's great for me because then I can contact the farmers and pull it off the field that day of that Wednesday market so it's fresh. And we're not overpulling, so we don't have waste. We can let it go for another week on the tree and then harvest it next week. Rather than a farmer that picks it, goes to a farmer's market, it rains, nobody shows up, and they throw it in a compost pile. Right? I mean, that's the fact. We just have food waste there. So placing a future order is great. You can know that you'll have this stuff delivered on Wednesday. But at any point, you can order delivery and have it delivered between 5 and 7 on Wednesday off of Acadiana Food Hub on Waiter. And it's there's a lot of things that will stay all year round that we can grow, consistently, and some of the things will just be seasonal. So this week's menu will change, and as I get a call on Wednesday or Tuesday that says, hey, we got, watermelons in and they're yellow and they got have you seen these yellow fruit?
I haven't. I had a coworker last year that was actually asking about them. She was like, do you know where I can get yellow watermelons? This was last year. And I was like, I have no idea. Yep, I've never heard of that. And I saw on Facebook like a post of you and I was like, it's a place in New Iberia that has them.
There's a couple places that do it. Sugartown has some farms too.
I feel stupid because in North Louisiana, I didn't see the peach trucks, but I did see watermelon trucks everywhere. Saline watermelons. Okay. And my grandmother was like, oh, they're supposed to have like really good watermelons. And I was like, what is a saline watermelon? There's a Saline, Louisiana.
Where they're from, like a Ruston peach saline watermelon.
And because I saw a sign for the watermelon festival. And it was
Did
like,
you do the watermelon crawl?
Saline, Louisiana. And I was like, oh my God, I feel stupid. Because I was like, what? I was like, how could a saline water, like, it sounds like a watermelon. Like, it's just like really
like
watery.
A variety of,
right. I'm not, and I don't like watermelon, just FYI. I'm not a fan of watermelon unless it's juiced. I like juiced watermelon. I'm weird. It's like a water just texture. Same thing like with cucumbers. That's why I don't eat them because it's like that water just, I don't know. I'm just weird like that.
Textures. But no, texture. I get it.
And it's like, and if I want a watermelon, I want it to be like sweet. So I want, and they're not. It's just like
they're never as sweet as like a candy would be.
Exactly.
Yeah, I want it to taste like
candy.
A watermelon Jolly Rancher is what I want a watermelon to taste like.
They would sell out.
Well, to be fair, it's this false sense of like what your food should taste like.
Right.
And so it's why
thanks to chemicals.
Yeah, but it's why kids won't eat a strawberry, but they'll eat strawberry candy and not understand the difference. And it's an issue actually with health in our children, right?
Right.
Yeah.
But the nice thing about this that you guys are partnering with Waiter to do. So like me, I am so busy. I work a lot of Saturdays and I can't make it to the farmer's market and they only do it on Saturdays. And then you guys are doing it on Wednesdays and I don't even have to go there.
It's
like
just another opportunity.
Yeah. Deliver it to me for me.
You've got farmers that have food and they want everybody to have access and people want access. Why not just give them another opportunity? Pretty simple.
We are going to take another break, and when we come back, we have more with Zach. So come back to us. It is the Lafayette Food Junkie Show on News Talk 96.5 KPEL.
Sunday night.
Welcome back to the Lafayette Food Junkie Show on News Talk 96.5 KPEL. I'm your host, Tiffany Deku, and joining tonight as guest co-host is Zack McMath with McMath Food Group. Let's plug the dinner one more time. If people want to get more information or purchase tickets, where would they need to go to do that?
Yep, there's an Eventbrite for Acadiana Food Hub, right? Good Eats for a Good Cause. You can also go to our Facebooks and our websites, acadianafoodhub.com. Tickets are $35. We're looking for table sponsors, and we'll have a whole bunch of vendors and be showcasing a whole lot of different things that are being actually made in Acadiana. So a lot of these Food Spark winners and a lot of these samples and things like that, we actually be able to try at this dinner. So think of it kind of like a little event fair, more than just like a little 2-course sit down dinner.
So I know at one time we had talked about potentially going back to the Waiter thing too, of having like a virtual restaurant there that they'd be able to do takeout from that. Is that still something that's on the menu?
Yeah. So it looks like Daily Decadence is going to do that. Is probably the closest one to I see doing that. Acadiana Slice is still working through their process. They were one of our Food Spark winners.
And okay, so a while back...
Because I want his pies delivered to my house.
And we actually brought that up. We talked a while back about a restaurant that was supposed to be Lafayette's first virtual restaurant and how it was like a breakfast place. And we didn't really think that was going to work the best to just be delivery for breakfast because some breakfast items don't really transport well. Like even though you can get things delivered, not necessarily everything needs to be delivered. But we were talking about Acadiana Slice and how that would work perfectly for that.
Yeah, but on that note, we actually had a meeting with... have you seen Chef Bork at the farmer's market?
I have not.
Okay, he does beignets at the farmer's market.
Okay.
You can buy his beignet mix. He's been a renowned chef here for a while. His son TJ has operated the food truck, Chef Bork's truck in Houston, and was displaced by Harvey. So now they're back over here, and they, due to some issues, are having issues running their truck beyond their control. They can't run their truck. So we're looking at testing out a virtual breakfast thing that would allow beignet delivery.
I don't know how that would... okay, I'm going to be like that person. I don't know how well that would transport.
Would you be willing to try?
I would definitely try it, but it's like I'm gonna sing some things shouldn't be delivered.
No, I hear you. I'm equally as curious.
Now, the one thing is that beignets are usually piping hot, and when you get them, you can't eat them for 10 or 15 minutes. So maybe if you lived in a 10 to 15 minute radius,
if I'm not mistaken, beignets were something that you were made quick, and you took them to work with you as you were working in New Orleans, and that was actually a grabbing meal. So you would get your 3 beignets in a bag, and you would take them with you, and you would eat them on the bus or the train or whatever. And so maybe is it really going to taste like it? I don't know.
Sells them like they're just up there.
They're just out there.
They're not hot.
Okay.
So and they work there. So
I like a hot beignet.
I like a hot beignet as well.
But I'm still curious.
Right.
Give me some powdered sugar on the side and let me throw it in the bag, and I'll mix it up myself.
If they do chocolate beignets, I may be more inclined to be interested.
So look, we're going to try it for like 3 days.
Okay.
I think pop-up.
Okay.
Right. We're going to do a pop-up little breakfast concept and kind of just get the word out there and see if people will order it and test it out and see how virtuals work and what that looks like. And so kind of encourage everybody to check it out and stay tuned, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I see like some things that it would work for and then some things it wouldn't. And I mean, you can
But how do you really know unless you try? And so we're just giving people a chance to try it. And if it doesn't work,
and to see, and
then we won't do it next week.
Exactly. Because I mean, like I said, Poop Arts does sell them and they're cold. Like you just go in and get them and you eat them like that.
People microwave them?
Maybe it's like I don't know.
People bake them.
Well, okay, so speaking of Poop Arts, they have like their biscuit. This is another prime example.
I'm making beignets for Kara's birthday, so I'm really excited about this.
They have their biscuits that are up there, and they're not good cold, but you pop them in the microwave, and then they're fine.
Right.
So maybe it's kind of you're right. Like you get it home and you like pop it in the microwave, and then you can eat your beignet. It's like a little cheat. Yeah. You don't have to make the beignets at home. You can just have them delivered and then pop them in the microwave. Maybe so. Maybe you're onto something with that.
Those French pastry chefs are just rolling in their graves.
We need somebody to do a chocolate beignet here because I had it in New Orleans and it was delicious. And it wasn't puffy like a beignet that you normally think of. It was kind of flatter and it was more fudgy almost kind of thing. But it was like so good and nice and different.
The only other thing we really have coming up is August 25th is the International Food Bloggers Conference in New Orleans.
Okay. So tell us a little bit about
they do this every year, and what they do is they bring in, food bloggers from all over the world come in. There's usually around 300 to 400, there may be like 450 this year. And basically just kind of talk food and blogging and different things. So if you're a food photographer, this would be a big thing for you. If you're somebody that writes about food or wants to write a book and things like that, huge... As you know, as a blogger, it's
right. I've been to food conferences and they're pretty awesome.
So what's neat is they have a day. It's actually held at the Royal Sonesta on Bourbon, and they have a day where they have different companies come in and basically, if nothing else, pitch to those kind of round table to a group of 5 bloggers.
Okay.
For 5 minutes
to see if they want to pick up.
No. Just hey, this is my company. This is what we do. This is our story, and here's where you should write. Here's the pictures of it, and so you'll have people taking pictures. You'll have people writing about it, and then in 5 minutes they'll go to another table, and you'll have 5 new bloggers in front of you. And it's a way just to get them promoting your companies and brands, to get them access. It gives them a story to be able to write about. Hey, they're in New Orleans and they're seeing Louisiana foods, and it's people from all over the world. And so they reached out to me because we have an incubator and we have people that make food, and they went, hey, do you think anybody would come? So we're actually sending Evans Honey's going, Base and Blend, and Sweet Smart, which was a Food Spark winner, are all going, and they'll just talk about what they do, and this will give them a world stage to put these Acadiana foods, which is a really unique opportunity. It's just that's one of the events they put on, and they have classes all day long. About different aspects of blogging in the industry and trends and things like that.
Yeah, they're super fun. I've been to them in the past. I haven't been to this particular one, but
there's a huge market in that, and that's a huge way to get your information out there, your products out there.
So a few shows ago, I went to White Star Market in Baton Rouge, and it brought up the Lafayette should have a food hall. And
so last I heard, Andy was working on that downtown, and
really,
Andy just left.
Oh, okay.
Andy just went to back to Canada.
Do you think it would be? I don't know. I feel like downtown maybe not
So the Omni Center, I think, is doing a good way to sort of get in there and work that out. Even certain portions of the worst market is doing things like that, giving a space for that. You don't have quite enough people, in my opinion, yet downtown to really support that in a way that would be a White Star Market way. Mm-hmm. Okay, an Omni Center way, I think so. Right, that's a model that seems to be doing pretty good.
See,
so far.
I had the idea of like maybe some of these abandoned buildings that are around town. You just can't
afford to throw $1 million into this and expect to be getting a profit, and that's sort of the issue. Is the huge investment that it takes to do that requires a huge return, and then that's on the back of these small companies, and then that's a big barrier for them, and that's why we needed our programs at the Food Hub to be sustainable. So we weren't putting this on the back of the farmers or the food producers, right? It could support itself.
Man, if the rent wasn't so high at the mall, like it would be the perfect place.
The Northgate Mall, actually, a girl submitted a project for a 24-hour citizens project. It didn't get in, but it was basically to bring back the commissary at the Northgate Mall.
So a trend around the country with the malls dying is they have reopened as international malls, and you can kind of go in and it's all different like Somalian grocery stores or like food places or Korean, like it'll be like places, huge.
Exactly.
So
they don't have quite a big enough market for a full-fledged retail place, but this is
so it's been like that's been a trend is that with the malls closing, they've been reopening as little, like they're calling them international malls. Yeah. So that may be something to further down the road. But I mean, it's sad. Like there's so many empty buildings around town.
Seems like it.
I feel like why don't they do like a food hall or something like that? And
it's a considerable cost to it. I mean, it took us a bit to build the Food Hub in the first place. I mean, that was a stretch that nobody else was really doing. So I mean, you even look at Wingfingers, what they had to do to remodel their place to get into their. I mean, they spent a lot of money,
right? Because I mean, they originally into Wingfingers started at one location and then stopped and then went to another location. Yeah, so
they had to do a full renovation of that building they're in now, and add kitchens and everything. It's a huge upfront cost, and you want to make sure when you're doing that you're pretty confident in what your output's going to be. And so that's why Wingfingers did spend all that time and that incubation there, proving that out before they went and spent all that money on practice.
And they have been doing wonderfully.
They've been doing great.
I've not seen
Chef John is put on a menu that's incredible. I mean, he's pulling out all the stops.
It's really do
his hot sauce challenge.
Yeah, no, I'm not doing the hot sauce challenge.
Everyone should not.
It's almost like it's upscale wings. Like he's doing great. Really creative. It's like
extremely creative.
A fine dining chef taking those talents to wings, and it's really cool.
He was at Marcello's. He was a sous chef at Marcello's.
Yes.
So he's a great background for making food and flavors, and he's added things to the menu besides the wings. His fries and his burgers are great. And now there's a full bar and drinks. They even do like late night cocktail menus and special menus at night.
And they're on that marketing because they are very much active on social media. The little beef with them and Brodus Burgers.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, was kind of nice and entertaining to watch.
It's extremely important. I tell food trucks all the time, like, I wouldn't open a truck with less than 300 Instagram followers because how is anybody going to know where your food is, right? You have to have people wanting to know where it is and then going out and finding it.
So that's another thing is food trucks. It's been said, and I kind of agree, that Lafayette's not very hospitable for food trucks. Like, there's not enough places for them to park. Like, the ones that are still out typically will go to businesses. I really like the trends of the apartment complexes, because I've had some come to my apartment complexes, and I'm like, yeah, you're making my job easy. But I'm going to Austin in 2 weeks, and I think what we've decided to do is that we're just eating at food trucks because they're everywhere there. And it's interesting. It's like, why does it work there, but it can't work here?
Population density.
And parking. I feel like parking is a huge issue. Yeah. I'm sure like regulations, city ordinances, and all that kind of stuff. Again, there's like a perfect area.
Right. We talked about a mall and redoing those. I mean, and even a White Star style of market. I think proving out a food truck roundup would be the precursor to any of those things happening. If you can't figure out a place to do that kind of thing, then
and I have a perfect location for that too. It's like off of Johnson Street. In fact, they used to have a lot of food trucks that would park out there.
Across from Brothers?
Yes.
I know exactly.
That's would be perfect location for a little food trailer park Like, and like Austin, that's what they're called. They're like food trailer parks.
And that's exactly why it's not there.
They have like food trailer parks all over the place in Austin. Like I thought there was only one, and somebody was like, no, they're
because
everywhere.
they're like they're trailers that park there and don't really move. Right? Where here you got to move them every single time.
Right, and that's the thing. It's like
they've got to return
have
somewhere.
one place that they don't have to move from.
But would you go there? And is that kind of space affordable in Lafayette?
I mean, I would go there because I like to eat. I see, but again,
in order for them
I don't
not to
know.
move, you'd have to build a whole other commissary there on that building and that property.
Really?
Which would be fantastic, but they would need a home base. Yeah. They've got to return to their commissaries every night.
Zach, thank you so much for joining us tonight. It's always a pleasure.
Always.
That's our show. Thank you so much for tuning in. Join us next week, Sunday at 6 p.m. This is Tiffany Deku on News Talk 96.5 KPEL, and this is the Lafayette Food Junkie Show. Thanks for listening, and as always, happy eating, Acadiana.